Stream bridges, culvert bridges, and roadways stood absolutely no chance against the floodwaters powerful enough to lift cars and wrap them around trees. The powerboat races aren't the only entertainment that you can have here at the 2015 Huntington Classic Regatta. They've also got a pretty nice carnival set up too. It works in stages. The first stage is detox, lasting 3 days to a week. Stage 2 involves lots of meetings and jobs to keep the addict busy. Stage 3 is a transitional phase where addicts take classes showing them evidence the program works. The next step is the longest, lasting 4 to 6 months. Here, addicts work a 12-step program and have community meetings where they hold each other accountable. The next to last stage puts the addict to work for 1 week in the detox center so that they can remember where they came from. To top it all off, addicts can live in a transitional house or become a peer mentor. The whole process lasting 6 months to a year. The EPA detected chromium-6 in the amount of parts per billion. For example, here in Cabell County, 1/800 billionth of this glass of water could contain chromium-6. To put that into context, that's 1 drop of chromium-6 in 800 Olympic swimming pools. Belfort, in conjunction with Kanawha County Schools, is taking each piece of equipment out of the schools and sanitizing it before placing it back inside, ready for student use. Many people reacting on social media say enough is enough. If they overdose, let them die. I talked with a man today who wanted to die before his last overdose turned him around. Will Lockwood is mopping the floor in his new home. 2 years ago, he didn't have a home, a floor, or a mop. He had a nasty opiate addiction that stopped his heart.
I can remember waking up in a bathtub, my drug dealer beating on my chest.
For the better part of 10 years, Lockwood spiraled through addiction, ending in a 2-week bender with the goal of killing himself. He OD'd 3 times, angry when EMTs brought him back from the edge.
How could you revive me when I don't even want to live, you know? Again, went right back to drugs that very night.
That's why Will understands the typical reaction to the record 26 overdoses Monday afternoon. On Facebook, dozens of posts. People calling for an end to Narcan funding, stop bringing them back, let them die.
I'm that junkie that deserved to die.
If that EMT, if that drug dealer had simply let you die, what would you have missed out on? What would the world have missed out on?
Yeah. Get choked up a little bit about that.
Lockwood has been sober for 2 years next month, now working to save others through Lifehouse Ministries. He can only thank those who saved his life and the taxpayers who footed the bill.
Not only do I thank you, but my praying mother thanks you. My 4-year-old son thanks you. My family thanks you.
Lockwood says to end this, death through overdose isn't the answer. He says communal efforts, forgiveness, and a little love can be the saving grace for an addict in need.
There is hope. There is a way out. There is a solution to this. You don't need to die. You don't need to. Lockwood plans to start college at Marshall University in January.
It's all caught on tape. A father using his terrified daughter as a human shield. The scene played out in a matter of seconds at the Johnson County Sheriff's Department Wednesday afternoon. Thursday, police say Jonathan Morrow is still on the run with his daughter in tow.
Generally, someone with a warrant doesn't just come into the sheriff's office. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
But that's exactly what police say Morrow did, trying to file a protective order against his wife. In the process, Deputy Danny Martin found Morrow was wanted out of Tennessee for drug trafficking.
Anybody that's wanted for a drug trafficking warrant generally is not the nicest person you ever meet.
Martin wanted to get the little girl away from Morrow. When he pulled his stun gun, Morrow pulled his daughter close. As Jonathan Morrow burst out of the front door, Deputy Martin finally got a clean shot. He hit him with his stun gun, sending Morrow to the ground, but he tore the barbs from his chest, tossed his daughter in the car, and took off.
I kept hearing noise.
Rick Roberts watched as Morrow escaped, hitting a state police cruiser in the process. Like many others, he can't believe a father wearing a #1 dad t-shirt could be so cruel.
We only see that in places like the Middle East, ISIS and people of that nature. That's not kosher to me.
In an exclusive one-on-one interview with Pence, he described his plan for the region. Does the Trump campaign understand the specific issues facing this area, and what can you all do to improve that for these people?
Donald Trump is a job creator. He's someone who's literally created thousands of jobs over the course of his career, and he knows what makes the American economy work.
This is a simulated school shooting. It's as close to the real thing you would ever want to experience. In the real world, there's no reset button.
It happens everywhere, and we have to realize that.
Adam and Marissa Hawk run the simulations at Defensive Solutions in South Point, where they train people to survive. Somebody call the police! Across the river at Marshall University, nearly 10,000 students are back to the routine of classes. Those students have never faced an active shooter situation. The school has rolled out active shooter training for all students and staff.
We never know when a situation like that might arise.
Health and Safety Director Tracy Smith says they used Homeland Security procedures to build the program and have distributed it to everybody online.
In this training, we teach, basically be aware of your surroundings and always know 2 exits.
You are in a building and you're hearing gunshots.
At Defensive Solutions, they go a step further.
You respond the way you've been trained, and if you haven't trained, who knows what you're going to do? You don't know what you're going to do.
The Hawks say if there is a shooter, you run as far and as fast as you can. If you can't get away, you hide. And if you can't hide, you fight. And you fight dirty.
There are no rules when you're fighting for your life.
Callie, people around Clay County have no running water, no power, and they're running desperately low on food. Several stations are being set up across the county to hand out supplies, but the shipments aren't coming fast enough. This is Sherman Pritt's home, floating downstream in Proches Friday. This is where it landed, pinned against his garage 20 feet from its foundation.
It just kept raining.
Pritt was inside his home moments before it broke loose. There's nothing left for him or his family here.
One of the kitchen tables went through that window.
Furniture, floors, cabinets, and precious family memories all buried under muck a foot thick.
I dug a hole right there because we moved the table out and I found my wallet right there.
Pritt is one of hundreds suffering across the county.
We have a lot of places we didn't even know was tore up.
County Commission President Greg Fitzwater took an aerial tour of the county Sunday. He says Proches, Camp Creek, and dozens of other small towns are in ruins.
We had the derecho in 2012. It was bad, but it ain't nothing compared to what this is.
The county is setting up supply stations in Clay, Lismore, Big Otter, and Proches. Supply lines so far have been sparse. Fitzwater says they need non-perishable food and clean water for every station so people like Sherman Pritt can rebuild.
It's never been this high, and it may not ever get this high again, but I hate to take another chance because it does hurt bad. It really does.
The Clay County Commission is setting up dumping sites across the county where you can take ruined furniture and debris. Fitzwater says it should take months to clean up. Well, Rick, right now, Sandra Cremines is understandably shaken. She says if it weren't for the help of local police, she may be dead. Sandra Cremines watched her ex-husband, Marvin Cremines, die late Tuesday night in her home along Monroe Hollow Road in Ohio.
I feel safer in my life that he's not here no more.
She says just before midnight, she woke up to the sound of broken glass in her bedroom.
I heard a bang, thump, crash, and here he come, axe and all.
Cremines grabbed her phone and ran to the kitchen, dialing 911 just before he caught up with her.
He got me by the hair of the head, took me to the floor, took me around and around and around, and slapped me across the face hard as he could. Oh, I tell you, oh man, that hurt.
Cremines says that's when police burst through the kitchen door. 2 Jackson County Sheriff's deputies and an Oak Hill police officer went into the home. One of the officers shot Marvin, killing him.
I didn't even keep in contact with him, period. He just comes out of the blue. You never know when he's coming.
Cremines says drug use may have played a role in her ex-husband's erratic behavior. The investigation has now been turned over to the Ohio Attorney General's Criminal Investigation Bureau. Cremines says the officer's quick action may have saved her life.
Between them and Jesus, my personal Savior, I said, between them and my Jesus, save me.
Well, kind of that fire drove Johnson Memorial parishioners away from their sanctuary last December. Right now they're trying to rebuild, but they're still going to be celebrating Easter in style just down the street. Construction on the fire-damaged Johnson Memorial Methodist Sanctuary is just beginning. Fire tore the side wall of the Huntington church last December.
Places you don't even realize are places are just covered with smoke, soot. It's just a mess.
Pastor Jack Lippert says the sanctuary isn't fit for Easter service. And as they searched for a place to celebrate Jesus Christ's ascension on the cross,
But of all Sundays, of all days,
the B'nai Shalom synagogue offered to take them in.
one of the first calls I got was from Rabbi Jean to say if there's anything we can do. It just shows the depth of grace and love of the B'nai Shalom congregation.
We are a group, all of us, and I think it's really, I love it that they've invited us.
Parishioners like Anita Farrell are excited to have a proper house of worship for such an important holiday.
Christmas and Easter, you see people that you don't usually see, people from out of town, grandchildren, that kind of thing. So we need some space.
She says actions like these, breaking down perceived barriers between worshipers, is what religion is about. Look at it that way, and an Easter celebration at Temple isn't so odd after all.
You know, Jesus was a Jew, and Jesus went to the synagogue, so how appropriate. I love it.
In the spirit of acceptance, Pastor Lippert says he's inviting everyone over to B'nai Shalom to celebrate Easter 10:30 Sunday morning. Callie, a couple hundred recovering addicts celebrated breaking the vicious cycle of drug abuse today to show what life is like on the other side.
Said she talks to the angels.
It's a beautiful day to be sober in Huntington. Most of this crowd at Harris Riverfront Park Friday are recovering addicts enjoying that sobriety. People like Michael Coleman.
I've been doing drugs about 30 years.
He's a man who moved to Huntington from Shreveport, Louisiana to escape his cocaine and alcohol addiction. He's now 3 weeks clean.
I feel great. I feel blessed. I thank the Lord for that.
You know, I wasn't dead. I was just beginning to live a life.
And people like Greg Posey, who will mark 12 years of sobriety on Tuesday.
Could you ever have imagined yourself standing where you are right now?
Absolutely not. But see, the day before I went to my first meeting was a total normal. I was not quitting the next day.
Close to a dozen recovery groups put the celebration together in recognition of National Recovery Month. They say the drug epidemic is still in full swing, but for one evening, they'll enjoy the success stories, the men and women who have a new lease on life.
I'm discovering who I am. I drank for 40-some years, and I didn't know who I was, what I liked, what I disliked.
We will never, ever let go.
Mayor Steve Williams doubled down on his dedication to people struggling with addiction. He says everyone here wants addicts to seek help, because every day is a beautiful day to be sober in Huntington.
Give us a shot. Just give us a shot. We can help them. We have already been in their shoes.
Organizers added up all of the recovery time for people in attendance today. In total, they tallied 509 years of sobriety. Guys, this playground is going to be built with literally everybody in mind, giving kids with disabilities a chance to play just like everyone else. This is Kelsey Hunt.
My name is Kelsey.
She speaks through her voice machine and moves using a wheelchair with the help of her grandmother, Sherry Napier.
She got viral encephalitis when she was 3 weeks old.
Okay.
And then she spent 3.5 weeks in the hospitals.
Cerebral palsy means 21-year-old Kelsey has never played on the monkey bars, never gone down the slide. Right now, she can't even swing. A new park planned for St. Cloud's Commons would change that.
In this region, in the state of West Virginia, there's nothing like it.
Executive Director Kevin Brady with the Greater Huntington Parks and Recreation District revealed plans Wednesday to build an all-inclusive playground, catering to more than physical disabilities.
It may be children that are hearing impaired, vision impaired, autistic children, children with learning disabilities.
I think it's great because there's all these little kids that she's got a friend that got on the swing for the first time last week. She's 8 years old.
No child should have to wait 8 years to swing. Brady says it's going to take more than $1 million to make it a reality, but it's money well spent.
My birthday is March 18th.
To let people like Kelsey spend the day at the playground, just like anyone else. Are you all going to be waiting pretty anxiously for this to see what it's like?
We'll be down there opening day.
Brady says he plans to raise all of the money and break ground in just under a year.